and welcome to the 2025 JSRA season.
What a race this has been. But there is Dominic Charles now sitting in the slipstream of the Australian, maybe trying to see if he can force a mistake.
Oh, what a move by Moss on the outside of Jaden Harrison.
Hold them Kimani as the fans are out and about. John just closing off the gap to the Trinidadian.
2, 1, go. Fast, sharp right. Fast, sharp right. Sharp right. Sharp right. Listen. Sabine.
Welcome everybody to round 3 of the Caribbean Touring Car Championship here for the second tour of the 2025 season. Welcome to Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. This will be an endurance round, the third round, the special event that we have for this year. Looking forward to seeing what can come. We've reached the pivotal moment in this tour. It's again time for the endurance round at none other than the legendary Spa-Francorchamps. 7.004 kilometers, 4.35 miles. We are at the MotoGP circuit, 19 corners. This circuit is the jewel of Belgium, a true test of man and machine, famous for its long lap, unpredictable weather, and corners like Rouge, Radion, Pouillon, and Blanchimont. And we even have the legendary bus stop. This track will push our drivers to the limit in this extended format. Concentration, tire strategy, consistency over a long distance will separate the contenders from the pretenders. Rohair Robinson, Jaden Harrison, and Dominic Charles are the three who top the championship standings, especially after round 2. What an epic showcase that was. Team Jamaica showing their true talent there, as we saw a little bit of bump drafting to take the lead in race 2 between the two JSRA drivers, between Rohair Robinson and Jaden Harrison. That battle was absolutely epic. Looking forward to seeing what can come this evening. We have quite a full grid, as a matter of fact. We have about 27 drivers, excluding myself, obviously, and unfortunately we will not have a physical safety car. You can see it there in your left hand side of the screen, but due to the fact that we are actually live at the auto show, the Jamaica Auto Show this year, we are under the Ceramic Hair banner, our own local sponsors, persons who we've been a part with, who supported us from day one. And right now we have our very own Moser rig out there ready. So if you have the time, please come and visit us tomorrow as the weekend will progress. We have roughly about 5 minutes until the start of qualifying. We will have, 3 minutes, my apologies, but we will have the split qualifying session as always. Right now, Dominic Charles with a 2:33.093, one of the faster drivers out there, between himself, Estefano, Jaden Harrison, and Christian Gomez, as well as Mr. Kadeem Mohammed. Top 6 are in the 2:33s, and just as we speak, there goes Dominic Charles with a 2:31.991, purple sector 2, purple sector 3, and looking rapid here this evening. So he himself is ready to put on a show. Estefano Barrera there out right now, preparing himself to get qualifying going. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 2.5 minutes until qualifying. Practice is very much so on the way. Looking forward to the battle that is ahead of us and what is to come in the next few moments. Right now, riding along board with the championship leader in Jaden Harrison. He has been coming full force this season, looking very strong in his bid for that top step of the driver championship. Himself and Rohey Robinson. Very much so looking forward to seeing what they as a team can be doing here. We have some long straights like the Camel straight where we will be seeing these drivers using as much of the slipstream, a lot of the bump drafting, which we did see in the last season, in the last race, my apologies, at Donington Park, especially between teammates. So this is going to be very interesting in the next few moments to see what these drivers have in store for us. Looking forward, ladies and gentlemen, to seeing the battles that will be coming in front. Only a few moments.
Hello and welcome to the 2025 JSRA season.
What a race this has been. But there is Dominic Charles now sitting in the slipstream of the Australian, maybe trying to see if he can force a mistake.
Oh, what a move by Moss on the outside of Jaden Harrison.
Hold them Kimani as the fans are out and about. John just closing off the gap to the Trinidadian.
3, 2, 1, go. Fast, sharp right. Fast, sharp right. Sharp right. Sharp right. Listen. Sabine.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are ready for qualifying. Just getting the drivers ready for what is to come. We had a few last minute changes. But right now, the bronze class drivers are out and ready to go roaring. We have Christian Gomez, we have Kadim Mohammed, we have Mateo Mejia, we have Javier Salazar, we have Thankai Adriano, we have Fernando Gonzalez ready and outside preparing their qualifying session. Should have Tizwanta, but not seeing Tizwanta on the server, so right now looking like he might not be racing this week. Joshua Brady as well, ladies and gentlemen, from Brady Racing, is out and about, ready to go racing. And right now we will ride along with who is in the front. I'm seeing Christian Gomez, who has been rapid here this season, so we'll definitely be watching for that as the qualifying goes on to see where he can place. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, as they are on their outlap, they're preparing their tires. I'm hearing them saying that the tires are cold, which is going to be very fun for the start of this race. Fun being very relative. However, we'll definitely be monitoring that to see. But Christian Gomez comes around the final bus stop to start his first flying lap, and he himself will see where he can put this car. We've seen a 2:31 being the indicative time to be, well, the representative time for pole position. That was 2 seconds clear of the field set by Dominic Charles. So we'll definitely look forward to seeing what times can be shown here this evening. We're riding along board now with Christian Gomez. Javier Salazar is right behind, or not too far behind, and he is making his debut here in the Tour 2 of the Caribbean Touring Car Championship. He is not a rookie to the JSRA, but still, this is his first race here, and we look forward to seeing what he can bring, as you see him in the background there. But there you see that Hyundai Renault losing it, and hear me about Hyundai Renault, the Elantra, my apologies, and that will be his flying lap. Should basically, well, right now it's save gas because you cannot teleport back to the pits. We've tried an instance of realism to make sure that the drivers can make it look and feel a little bit more realistic. You can't just crash and head back to the pits and start back over. You have 10 minutes per class per session to just put your lap in and get out of the way. So right, so his lap now being invalidated. We'll ride along board with Noble Racing driver Javier Salazar, who will be pushing. He's a little bit further back, so we'll watch him in a second's time. Fernando Gonzalez as well was the driver that was in front, but we'll still just keep watching to see who is where. We have Joshua Brady in that Subaru, and I'm sure he is looking forward to putting on a show here this evening. He has been missing in action, as a matter of fact, so looking forward to seeing his representations here this evening to see what he can do and bring forth some action this week and bring a little bit of excitement. We know he's one of those rapid drivers. Takes him a little bit of time to get up to speed, but once he gets up to speed, it's literally just about racing time. And there we are seeing Mr. Adriano there improving on his last lap, but still we will watch to see what can happen. We're right now, the drivers, this is a relatively long lap, 7 kilometers. Kadim Mohammed is actually looking like he's going to be setting the pole or the first fastest lap, as he's about a 3/10 off in sector 1 off of Christian Gomez, but he's a good 2 seconds clear in sector 2. So Kadim Mohammed now We'll ride along board with him as he comes along, and there goes Adriano, and Kadim Mohammed takes pole position. Adriano takes P2, and Javier Salazar quickly overtakes that. Mattia Mejia as well. We've seen him last week, him and Christian Gomez fighting it out for the bronze class, and Kadim Mohammed, my apologies. So those were the three. Javier Salazar looks like he's likely going to be one of those bronze class drivers to kind of just throw a little bit of drama here this evening. So we'll ride along board for the next 4 minutes to see what these drivers can do. You basically have 3 laps to get a good lap out. So after this lap, they have basically 1 more to see if they can get the fastest lap out possible. This is going to be very exciting to say the least, because the drivers are pushing. As you see, we ride along board now. Kadim taking up as much of that slipstream, and it looked like he was very close to the back end of that BMW, driven by and that's Sean Falloon finally putting a time on. But yes, Mr. Adriano getting out of the way rather quickly. Looks like he didn't want any part of Kadim Mohammed there, heading in after the came straight by that bus stop chicane. So we'll definitely continue to ride along board Kadim, enjoying that slipstream. Purple sector 1 set by Kadim Mohammed here. 3 minutes remaining in this qualifying session. And a gentle reminder, ladies and gentlemen, we do start drive of the day voting as quickly as possible. So please, if you have a favorite driver that you'd like to help out to gain an advantage, gain their chance to win their own sim racing gloves at the end of the season, sponsored by 7 Mile Racing, please mention their name in the chat. We're looking forward to seeing what can come in the next few moments. Kadim Mohammed, not the fastest sector 2 right now. He's about a second off of his original time, and nobody necessarily running 107 was sector 2 fastest. Purple sector 2 right now setting a 108.4, so not rapid, but still is slightly improving. Does not improve on that lap. 234.401. This will be his final lap, as the silver class drivers should be preparing themselves to go qualifying in the next few moments. Right now we have Kadim Mohammed with a 233.340. Christian Gomez 5 tenths clear or off of him with a 233.883. 234s are the next time to come, followed by 241 set by Sashan Falloon. Joshua Brady hasn't put a time in, neither has Fernando Gonzalez. So we're hoping to see them putting in. We have 8 drivers in the bronze class. Looking forward to seeing what they can bring in the next few moments. And as we have about 30 seconds left in this qualifying, we do remind you, ladies and gentlemen, that we have an endurance race. Tankai and Adriano has already pit. Sashan Falloon looks like he is, well, he's on his final lap now. And we'll ride along. Christian Gomez looking rapid in sector 2 there, and we'll just tag along with him. 107.707. The new pole or fastest sector 2, so we'll see what he can bring here, because he is looking rapid. This could take the provisional pole, especially for the bronze class drivers. Kadim Mohammed a 10th off of him, was improving in sector 1, so still not too bad. Can this be his moment to shine as he heads down now to the bus stop chicane? Christian Gomez comes around the final sequence of corners, heads down the final straight. and will be setting his lap. 2:33.340 is the time to beat, and he does with a 2:32.789 and takes provisional pole. Kadeem Mohammed now loses it out, does improve to 2:32.883. Remember, he did start in the top 3 last week, even in the bronze class, and that is his qualifying session done. Mattia Mejia, Javier Salazar, Adriano, and Sashan and Fernando are still to be heading to the pits now or finishing up their lap, but that is the bronze class set and ready and dusted. Christian Gomez sits in P1 with a 2:32.789. We have the silver class drivers heading out now, so we'll tag along board with them in a moment's time as Riley Curtis leads out the silver class drivers. See if they can. Raven Plummer right behind him. This is going to be the exciting part, ladies and gentlemen. So please, I hope you got your food and your dinner and you're ready to go racing, because in a moment's time the qualifying session is going to be very heated, as you can see right there. Mr. Riley Curtis right behind Estefano Barrero. Estefano had a brilliant race last week, dominated in race 1 with no ballast, but still looked very clear of the field. I think he won by about 9 seconds to the closest competitor, which was Jaden Harrison. As you can see in the background right there, you see him coming around right behind the likes of was that Raven Plummer? Yes, it is. And then another Noble Racing driver. So we do have team races. AC Karting right behind in Riley Curtis. Riley Curtis is following along board with Estefano right now. Estefano will be the first driver to head around as we commit to this next few sequences. We'll ride along board with Estefano since he will be the first driver of this evening to set a lap. Looking forward to seeing what he can do as he gets his session ready and outing and abouting as he comes around the final corner, and he will begin his final lap. 7.5 minutes remaining, ladies and gentlemen, in his qualifying session. Estefano Barrero will be starting his first flying lap and will ride along board. Riley Curtis right behind, and I believe I'll check in a second who is that behind Riley, but we'll ride along each of them one by one to see who will be coming along for the ride. Slipstream will be powerful here, and we've seen it already, and that is Estefano leading from Riley Curtis, leading from Raven Plummer, leading from Daniel Velez. So this is going to be the interesting part, ladies and gentlemen. Only a few moments time we will get some really good qualifying session started as Estefano now heads down the Camel Straight down into the bus stop, and he will be pushing. We'll see where he stands up in compared to the bronze class driver. 5 tenths off in sector 1 to Mr. Christian Gomez. 44.5 was the pole set time so far, but that was on hotter tires, so we'll definitely see. But right now, Riley Curtis with the fastest sector 1 out of the silver class drivers, which is quickly taken over, but most of them hovering around at 44.7, 44.8. So right now we'll see where that is. Everybody kind of very close and competitive, but again, this is the lap after the warm-up lap, so please stay tuned for what is to come. Estefano looking very strong here, using as much of the corners, the curbs, and you can see him there, uses touches to the right, leans back over to the left, leans back more to the right, and then back into the left now. And this is going to be a very crucial part. Sector 2 is the most difficult section of the track. It's where most of the corners are, as a matter of fact. So this is where the drivers are going to be finding most of their time, whether you find a second or 2. Dominic Charles was the one who got, I think, 1.5 seconds in sector 2 alone. So that is where the interesting part is going to come. And please be reminded, he did that with 10 extra kilograms of ballast, which was set by the server. That has been removed now for quite a few drivers. Joshua Brady there disqualified for teleporting, but he is one of the bronze class drivers, so that won't be a problem for him now. It is mentioned again, we mentioned it at the beginning of the stream, that we have a new setup where you are not allowed to use the back to pits button. You have to drive back to the pits to ensure that you have as clean of or realistic of a race as possible. Sector 2 was set purple by Estefano Barrero. Comes around the final corner, looking very strong here as he comes around 232.668. And that is a purple sector 2, purple sector 3. Riley Curtis right behind. Raven Plummer does come next, and then you have Rohir Robinson. Where is Jaden Harrison? And that is them. Daniel Velez right behind. And who is up next? We have Deville Park, Roger Kello. Right, Ozin Wilson and Dominic Charles. Dominic Charles, again, was one of the fastest drivers in practice right now on provisional pole with a 232.668 is Estefano Barrero. 232.938 by Jaden Harrison, by Rohey Robinson, and 233.060 set by Jaden Harrison. So those are the drivers that we'll be watching. Dominic looking forward to seeing what he can bring. Kurt Moss here, who is rapid, very rapid driver, doesn't get much practice in the CTCCs. I believe that's Michael Thompson right there behind him in that Mitsubishi Lancer, one of my favorite cars as a matter of fact. But yes, Michael will be hunting down the likes of his countryman, Mr. Kurt Moss, and that is going to be very interesting to watch, as it's two drivers who don't necessarily know each other's driving style. So this is going to be fun to watch, but we'll see where the qualifying will take them. But yes, as we've been watching, Estefano does improve in Sector 1, and so does Rohey Robinson, and so does Jaden Harrison and Luis Daniel Velez, looking clear of Estefano as a matter of fact. So right now, that is going to be the interesting portion of this qualifying session. Riley Curtis not improving yet. Raven Plummer, how is she doing? She is not looking terrible in Sector 1. Purple Sector 2 by Estefano Barrera. So we will continue to ride along board with him to see where he fits in to this mix. Riley Curtis is not too far behind. And again, Estefano is looking rapid. Will this be the 231 that we've been waiting for from the extra drivers? He comes down to the final chicane, heads right, heads left, and that purple-blue themed Nova Racing race car will be heading down that start-finish straight, uses as much of the track as possible. Comes down 232.308. Riley Curtis is right behind, and he is looking like he might be improving. No, he does not. And then Raven Plummer does come around. She does improve. Rohey Robinson as well does improve. Jaden Harrison should be coming around now as well. And does he improve? 232, and he takes provisional pole by 0.2 of a second. We have one more lap for these drivers to go. 2-minute warning is now on, and right now the drivers are heading out. The Ville Park 234.109, Kurt Moss with a 234.614, Roger Keller with a 233.997, and this is where it's going to continue to get interesting, because right now we have one Jamaican, one Colombian, and one Trinidadian in the top three, followed by Colombian, followed by another Trinidad, and followed by a Bayesian. So this is going to be very interesting. We have three different countries on the podium as we speak. This is going to be where the fun part comes in. Estefano still looking very much like he wants to take this pole position, but 0.3 down in Sector 1. That is not going to be huge for him, and we'll ride along board. A little bit of battling here, I believe. Is that right? The Curtis in front of Dominic Charles, I believe it might be. I'm sure he was trying to gain some sort of slipstream, but maybe kind of slew him down heading up Rouge. And is that a little bit of fighting in qualifying? This is not going to be good for either driver. But that being said, Dominic is improving in Sector 1. How will he do in Sector 2? He was the first driver in the 231s. Will he find it back? He's already improved, and he's only 0.4 off of that 231, and looking like he's going to be improving in Sector 2. So we'll continue to ride along board to see where he comes there. But Jaden Harrison now is looking rapid in Sector 2 as well, as you're seeing some purples coming into the picture there in the top right section of your screen. So please just continue to ride along board. Well, let's take a look at Rohey Robinson, who's not looking 0.7 off of the pole time right now. So Rohey not looking like he's going to be improving tonight, and he will not have an extra lap to go after this one. So we'll definitely see where he comes in the picture. But right now, Jaden Harrison, purple Sector 2, not purple, but still he did improve in Sector 2, so that is going to be hopefully his run at that pole position to hold on. Dominic Charles there still improves, but 0.3 off in Sector 2, so his timing not looking perfect, but we'll continue to watch and see where he can go. Daniel Velez now comes around the final stretch now. Will he be improving? No, looks like he can maybe improve. Yes, he does. His time, he sits in P7. Jaden Harrison as well improves on his time. Who else is to come around? Roger Keller comes around the final corner as well. Most drivers heading into the pits. Dominic Charles as well is right behind these. Will he improve? Roger Keller does improve to P7, relegates Daniel Velez to P8. Dominic Charles passes the line and moves up to P2 with a 231.987. So Jaden Harrison, Dominic Charles, and Estefano Barrera are the top three. Rohey Robinson relegated now down to P5, and that is not what he wanted, I'm sure. And ladies and gentlemen, that is your qualifying session as this comes to a conclusion. That is Oswin Wilson now, who was or is sitting now in P10 to finish out the points positions. And ladies and gentlemen, we have just gone through. Just a little reminder to the drivers that the tires are going to be extremely cold this evening. This is going to be very fun to watch, to say the least, as the drivers are preparing to go racing. I myself am quite excited for the battles to come. We've had some really good racing here at Spa-Francorchamps in the past. Especially, we've seen some overtakes through Rouge. This is going to be very fun and entertaining, as the drivers are now out and preparing to go racing. We're hearing strategies being called in the in the drivers' room. Some drivers saying there's going to be a one stop. Some saying that it might be two. Some saying that they might just go low on fuel to start the race, and some that are going to go full. This is going to be very interesting to watch the different strategies coming out and seeing what the drivers can do. Again, at the moment, it looks very exciting. We have quick rundown on the grid. We have Jaden Harrison in P1, Dominic Charles in P2, Estefano Barrero in P3, Christian Gomez from the bronze class sits in P4, Rohir Robinson in P5, Kadeem Mohammed in P6, Roger Keller in P7, Luis Daniel Velez in P8, Riley Curtis in P9, and Oswin Wilson in P10. Those are your top 10 drivers so far. Mattia Mejia in P11, Raven Plummer surprisingly in P12. You can see her on the hard tire. Michael Thompson in P13, David Park in P14, Kurt Moss in P15, Javier Salazar in P16, Rodrigo Senawal in P17, Joshua Brady in P18, Thankai Adriano in P19, Tizwan Taji in P20, Sashan Falloon in P21, Fernando Gonzalez in P22, Kimani Eastman in P23, Michael McNamee in P24, and he did not have a qualifying this evening due to a qualifying ban. The drivers are now heading out. This is a rolling start, ladies and gentlemen. And this is going to be quite a battle here, as you see the drivers heading out now, getting those tires warm. It's a long track, 7 kilometers, 4.5 miles if I remember correctly. And you're going to have to definitely, see some battles here this evening. Jaden Harrison leads the pack, and you're seeing them warming the tires, especially right now. 80 kilometers is the speed limit for the drivers to get around. Jaden there just keeping the pack as close as possible. As a matter of fact, seeing a little bit of a gap there, they will catch up sooner than later as he heads down now to the Camel Straight as he goes up through Rouge. And that Jamaica theme, it's hard to miss it. His teammate sits in P5. Didn't have the best qualifying session, but we've seen him have some very good sessions in the past. Dominic Charles being the only Trinidadian, well, the only Trinidadian on the grid. He sits by his lonesome. Estefano Barrero, his teammate, in P7, but he does have a countryman in Christian Gomez sitting in P4. They're not on the same team. Kadeem Mohammed, the only Bayesian as well, sits there in P6. Roger Kello in P7. Riley Curtis, AC karting driver, his teammate is not here this evening, as a matter of fact, so we'll see what happens with him. Came for round 1, came for round 2, missing in action for round 3. That was Mr. Cooper himself. Rodrigo Senawal sits in P2. Which was it? P17, my apologies. He, the AC karting driver, sure would love to have his teammate Mr. John Singleton on track with him, but fortunately won't be having him here this evening. But that being said, Jaden Harrison leads the pack. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the fight of the season endurance racing. There is no BOP this evening as well. Just a quick reminder, as this is our special event, and as you've seen in the past, that no BOP can lead to some very interesting racing. We've seen some quite dramatic moves in the past, and sure we're looking forward to seeing what can come from this evening. As drivers get ready to go racing. And just a quick, huge shout out to our sponsors, our league sponsor for the season, Ceramic Hair, who are the leading team in ceramic coating for your motor vehicles. Keep them with a shine. Looking forward to seeing what will come in the next few moments. Emanuelle Boutique as well is having their yearly Mother's Day sale. So ladies and gentlemen, if you need to pick up something for that missus in your life or your mother, the mother of your child, we do implore you, take a stop by shop number 4 Village Plaza. Get your dresses, get your accessories, get your Sunday church evening dresses. This is a full grid, ladies and gentlemen. 24 drivers for this 1 hour in endurance event. I am definitely looking forward to seeing what can come in these next few moments as they come down the final straight to begin this 1 hour special event. These drivers are raring to go racing. Jaden Harrison leads from Dominic Charles, from Estefano Barrero, from Christian Gomez, from Rohey Robinson, to Kadim Mohammed and Roger Kello. Double A in file right now as they head down that final straight. And we'll get green light racing in only moments time. Jaden has been saying that he wanted that podium, that pole position. He hasn't had the best luck in qualifying over the past few days. Right now he gets that opportunity and he comes around the final chicane. And we will have red light racing. We'll have green light racing in only a moment's time. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's already racing time. And we have green light racing. Green light, green light, green light. Right now, seeing drivers fighting it out. That looks very suspicious as drivers making contact there, but nothing too dramatic so far, which will be necessary for a safety car. But Tizwanta Ajin there is in the back, himself and a few others, so they'll continue their battle as they head up the Rouge. And this is going to be the battle start. Right now, Estefano is right there on the rear end. Rohey Robinson, where did he find his way to take that position up? He's jumped up 2 positions since he started this race. Dominic Charles now fighting him back to gain back that position, has the inside heading down into the bus stop, and there goes Dominic Charles. Jaden Harrison as well fighting it out with Estefano Berger for the lead of this race. This is a 1 hour race, so what can happen between these two? Dominic will have the charge, and Kadim Mohammed right there behind Daniel Velez as well, chasing down the likes of the Bayesian driver. It's on the brakes is Daniel. Looks like he's trying to go around the outside, and that is not going to be enough, but he holds his line. Mateo Mejia also jumps 4 positions, and right there as he speaks, Riley Curtis is right on the inside. These two have been finding themselves in quite a few collisions and battles since the first season this year, and I'm sure they are not the best of friends, but they'll definitely be fighting it out in the next few moments as this race continues. Right now the battle is between P6, P5 and P4, between Rohey, Kadim and Daniel Velez. These 3 are going to be fighting it out for the next few moments. The battle goes on. Mateo Mejia and Riley Curtis fighting it out right now for that position. This is going to be fun as the battling continues. And my apologies, but this battle for the lead has been going on since the beginning of this race. Dominic Charles is lurking there in the background, is waiting for his moment, and it's an endurance race again, ladies and gentlemen, so please be reminded, this could very well be the duration of the race, battling from start to finish based on how these are going. But again, you have to watch for tires, and there is Kadim Mohammed, I'm sorry, is fighting and going along the outside of Luis Daniel Velez, was on the threat but quickly takes that back. But right now Estefano and Jaden are the ones who will be fighting as they come around to finish lap 1, and Dominic Charles now joins the party for the top 3. So this is going to be where the fun starts, as you see Jaden there sitting in the slipstream, looks on the outside. Estefano goes defensive, holds that line. Dominic Charles waiting now, waiting. He's seen just watching there for his moment to shine. 55 minutes remaining, ladies and gentlemen. The racing has just begun. Seeing some action here between Joshua Brady and the likes of Kurt Muss and the Thankai Adriano. And right now, Jaden Harrison going up your Rouge, 3 of them running back to back to back, looking very snake-like. As you see Rohit Robinson there just sitting in the slipstream right there, not too far behind. Now Jaden Harrison looking like he's doing a little bit of bump drafting to maybe get away. Looks on the outside. Stefano holds inside, comes back out onto the racing line to hold position, and the 3 will go into coming out to the bus stop after the end of Kemmel Straight. This is going to be a battle to watch, ladies and gentlemen, between Dominic Charles, Jaden Harrison and Estefano Barrero. We'll just give Rohit Robinson, Daniel and Kadeem Mohammed an opportunity for them to get into the mix, because they are their own trio heading in this battle. But maybe Jaden will be backing out sooner than later, maybe not pushing too much, but maybe trying to push Estefano into making a mistake. But that being said, Daniel is the next 3 before, but right behind them we have another train from P12 all the way down to P7 behind Mathieu Mejia. So this race is slowly becoming into about 5 different races, so we'll continue to watch and ride and see what will happen in these next few moments. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so right now we're watching as Dominic Charles, purple sector 1 so far, looking like he's trying to put a little bit of pressure there on the lead cars and maybe see if he can force them into a mistake. Christian Gomez, who did look rapid, he started in P4, did fall back to P9, so maybe a little bit of a chaotic start. I'm sure we'll hear about it in the stewarding, but right now we didn't see anything live, so we'll continue to ride along board. Christian Gomez hunting down the likes of Oswin Wilson right there in front of him, and this is going to be very interesting to say the least, as the drivers are fighting it out. And Jaden Harrison, I'm sure, sorry, just noticing the gap between them going down more and more, but Kadeem was overtaken by Daniel Velez there, heading down that final straight. So they too have been fighting throughout the season as well, so definitely look to see what can happen between them now, as we see Kadeem just sitting right there in the slipstream of Daniel Velez, and we've been watching to see what can come from them in the next few moments. Raven Plummer, Michael Thompson, and Christian Gomez goes down on the inside, heading into turn 1, side by side with the likes of Riley Curtis, and not enough, but there they go, side by side. And ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be fun, because they are heading up now up the Rouge Hill, and this is a one move not made, but it looks like Christian will be defending against Riley Curtis. Riley looking very fast, as he's literally pushing that Hyundai Elantra as they head down now, down to Kemmel Straight. I'm sorry, I'm going to take a quick look, because Dominic Charles and Jaden Harrison are side by side. Dominic Charles looking like he's trying to make a move on Jaden Harrison, and no contact, but yes, the move has been stuck, and Dominic Charles now takes P2 from Jaden Harrison. Jaden Harrison will be hunting down them, and now Dominic heads off to see if he can make any progression with the Colombian driver in front, and he now is in P2. Purple sector 1 has the fastest lap so far, and is on the hunt for that winning positions. Jaden Harrison not wanting to give up too quickly, so we'll watch to see what happens there. But while we did that, Christian Gomez did or was relegated down to P10, so looks like coming down Kemmel Straight, Riley Curtis did get that move stuck, and now Riley Curtis sits in P9 and still has that Colombian driver in his slipstream, so that's going to be fun to watch. But right now, let's just ride along board quickly with Jaden Harrison, Dominic Charles and Estefano Barrero, because Dominic now is looking rapid as he's trying to hunt down the likes of Estefano, see if he can make a little bit of inroads into that Toyota Corolla. That Toyota Corolla has been quite dominant here, to say the least. But the 2 Hyundai Elantras sitting right behind. But the top 7 consist of 5 different Toyota Corollas, so this is going to be fun to watch, with only 2 Elantras in the top 5, 3 in the top 10, and 1 Ford to top the top 10. And the battles are just going on and on and on, and as we speak, we're noticing Oswin Wilson right there in the slipstream of Christian Gomez, looking if he can make a move here, as he looks like he was relegated 2 positions, so maybe made a mistake there and had to back up. But now he looks on the outside, he'll switch to the inside. Will he, which inside will turn into the outside, back into the inside? Where does he go? Back onto the outside now. He's looking to see if he can make that move, and it's a little bit of contact there. He went extremely wide, Christian Gomez, to try and defend that line. A little into borderline grey area, but we'll continue to ride right along. This is racing and Caribbean touring car racing. We know that elbows and shoulders are out and about, so this can easily transform into anything in the next few moments as Jaden Harrison hunts down Dominic now to head up your Rouge. 7/10 the gap between Dominic and Estefano. You don't want to fight too much and cause too much of a drift between you and the driver in front, so this is where you have to be careful, ladies and gentlemen. There goes Jaden sitting in that slipstream, looking, maybe he's thinking, is Dominic moving too slow for him, or maybe is he gonna do a little bit of bump drafting? There you see him backing out, so no, he's very much so not racing at this point and just trying his best to keep in the battling, especially keep that fight in with Estefano. Said this might be some unruly teamwork, not necessarily from the same team, but at this point doesn't make much sense to lose out to the car in front, battling out for a position that could be fought for in the latter stages of the race. Daniel Velez still hunting down the likes of Rohir Robinson. Rohir Robinson trying to see if he can catch back up 2 seconds off the top 3 of the podium. So he himself has some work to do. We've seen him do it in the past, so we'll continue to ride along board to see what he can do. But back at the field, we have Joshua Brady hunting down Roger Keller, hunting down Mr. Kurt Moss. It's been a minute, Mr. Massive, and looking forward to seeing what Kurt can bring here this evening. He just jumped in at the last minute, no practice. This is his practice time. Luckily, he hasn't found himself in any incidents. Because typically his Ford is typically like a magnet to just draw some very extreme attacks, to call it, to be very kind of to the right end of his car. So he himself has found some favor here this evening, and we'll continue to ride along board. But right now, 50 minutes remain in this race session, and the drivers are looking like they're calming down themselves a little bit now. Now it's not about fighting, but just saving as much fuel and tires, and we'll get some fighting in the end point. But Jaden hasn't given up. He's just looking there right in the slipstream, just keeping in as close as possible, waiting, maybe even bump drafting. Maybe we'll see a little bit of what we saw last week at Donington, where Rohir Robinson did a little bit of bump drafting to get past the likes of the Swiss driver into turn 1 between himself and his teammate. But right now his teammate is a little bit too far from him to get that advantage, but at least he knows he's not too far away, and he's right there in the midst, ready for any moment to pounce. Michael Thompson now under threat by Oswin Wilson. Oswin looking like he's trying to see if he can gain that advantage. They will be fighting, heading down now, coming out of turn 1, heading down up to Rouge. This will be the battle to pursue, as Oswin Wilson will be catching. But there goes Jaden again, doing the bump drafting, pushing to see where he can gain or help that driver in front of him to just gain that extra advantage. There you see him, that extra boost in speed. And I'm sure Dominic is not complaining at it, because he's right there as they come out of the Kendall Straight and head down, getting closer, that much closer to Estefano Barrero. Jaden Harrison just hunting. The gap between Rohir and Jaden is now under 2 seconds, and there goes Jaden down the inside, and this looks like he is making a move, and Jaden now 8/10 off of Estefano, and that is a move done. So he looks like he gained that advantage and just said, hey, all right, you got your shot, now it's my turn to go after the Colombian in front. And now he will be hunting, hopefully not too much racing work for the drivers behind to catch back up and the driver in front to get away. So this is where strategy will come into place, ladies and gentlemen. We have only 47 minutes remaining, only 13 minutes has elapsed. 1 hour, this is our special event. Driver we haven't seen in quite some time. Mr. Emanuelle Eastman does sit in P20, didn't get much practice time, but he's hunting down the likes of Mr. Adriana in that BMW. Looks on the inside, and will that be his move? Kimani Eastman fighting it out with himself, Michael McNamee, and that move looks like it's done. And will he help his countryman? No, as Mr. Adriano sits there in the slipstream just waiting for his moment. But Michael McNamee tries to make the move, and yep, the two make it into one, and that is a move done. Dominic Charles again, though, this is looking at they're not going to be working together. This is a fight. So this is like a sprint race for them as they're fighting it out, and there's 45 minutes remaining. So this is going to be interesting. And guess who it helps out? And guess we should be smiling, Mr. Estefano Barrero, who is now sitting 1.5 seconds clear of the drivers behind him. So Jaden Harrison, I'm sure, would have been hoping that there would have been a little bit more help or a little bit more less fighting. As you can see, I'm sure he's a little bit above drafting now, as you see him just poking his neck to see where is that braking Marco. And right now as they hit the curb, hits the brake, you see the nose of that Hyundai Elantra just dips into the ground. Now that gap slowly just coming down and down, but this is going to be very interesting for the lights. This is a very huge championship battle because the points are 1.5 for this evening for the special event. So this is definitely one of the races that the drivers try their hardest to win. And right now Estefano Barrera, who had a torrid race 1, is looking very promising after a very brilliant drive last week in race 2, winning the race, but the first race, and then coming second in race 2. So he himself is looking like he would like to take control of this championship. If he does get these points, could very well work in his favor, ladies and gentlemen. But right now he's looking dominant. 1.2 seconds. Jaden Harrison chasing down Dominic Charles and Rohy Robinson. The gap still stuck right there below 2 seconds, and they will be continuing their chase for pace here this evening. Christian Gomez there chasing down Riley Curtis, who is on that move against Matteo Mejio, heading into the final corner. Matteo later on the brakes will be holding on. They go heading down now into the start finish straight, and Matteo trying to be defensive as possible, but Riley looking like he's trying to make his move as he looks down now on the outside, and they will be heading down into turn 1. And guess what? Christian Gomez is waiting on his moment, and there's contact between the three, and Riley Curtis is the one that got the mass of that damage, and that is heartbreak for him, going a little bit drifty. And Christian Gomez does take the lead, but I'm sure we'll be hearing about that in the steering room as he just bounced through. And Riley Curtis now 1.4 seconds behind the likes of Matteo Mejio. Matteo will be hunting down the likes of Christian Gomez. This battle is going to continue for the foreseeable future. And wow, drama here this evening, ladies and gentlemen. 18 minutes have gone so far. Huge again shout out to Ceramic Air and the likes of, if this was real life racing, their ceramic coating would have properly protected the coating on that paint job to make sure that they could just rip off the ceramic coating, the wrap that they would have put on. No scratches, maybe a few dents as a matter of fact, but no scratches. That's what matters in a way. But that being said, Ceramic Hair Coating specialists here in Jamaica, one of our title sponsors. They've been with us since day one. Join us tomorrow at the car show at the National Arena, and we will be at the, in my opinion, the most epic booth of the area, as we will be sitting alongside with the Ceramic Hair booth to try and gain as many new sim racers into the room and into the community. So please feel free to join us, stop, test out sim racing if you have a chance. It's I promise you love it. So we will be debuting the Palisades track, which is just finished by our friends over at AC Karting, who've done the mass of the work, and they've I think we're 95% through now, just getting the LiDAR scan through and ready. So we'll definitely be testing that out with some karting mods that they've done and put out, and we will be debuting that tomorrow at the car show, as well as we'll have our AC Karting Championship, Global Karting Championship in only a month time. We have LMU tomorrow. So ladies and gentlemen, if you want to join us for some very fun and exciting battles, please look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And in the foreseeable future, Raven Plummer now hunts down the likes of Oswin Wilson for the final points position. Christian Gomez there loses out to Riley Curtis for a second there, but not enough. Riley still hunting him down, still trying to see where he can gain that advantage. Mattia Mejio what's going on with the timing board, but these three are now fighting it out again. Mattia Mejio does fall back. Riley Curtis goes on the inside, takes that position out from Matteo, and goes a little bit wide is Matteo, and he has to come back on save. Michael Thompson now is promoted into P9. Michael Thompson goes on to try and see if he can hunt down the Australian and the Colombian driver in front of him, and this will be the fun part for him. Oswald Wilson now goes into the final points position, followed by Raven Plummer. Mattia Mejio drops down 4 positions through one sequence of corners. Coming up is Roger Kello and Mr. Kurt Moss right there behind, waiting on their moment to shine and see if they can gain an extra points here in this evening's race. Kurt Moss sitting in P13. And there Raven Plummer and Matteo fighting it out, fighting. Kurt Moss comes around and he did take the runoff. We'll have to concede some time there, and there you see him having to slow down. There goes Raven Plummer to take back the position. Kurt Moss as well gets into the party to see if he can get into the action and gain an advantage. Goes on the inside of Mattia Mejio. Matteo will be pushed wide. This will be side-by-side action heading down. Now this is going to be tricky because that corner will drag you wide, and there you see him having Kurt Moss having to back out a little bit and use as much of the curb, and that puts Mr. Roger Kello right into the mix. Backs out early again, and this will be very fun to watch as Roger will be hunting the likes of the Jamaican driver in front of him, and this battling is going to continue for the next few moments, because from P8 all the way down to P13, P14 is now up for grabs, and this is going to be the battle that we will be watching definitely as P7, my apologies, as Riley Curtis is still hunting down the likes of Christian Gomez, who again, ladies and gentlemen, do not be surprised if there will be some form of a penalty. And am I seeing correctly? Thought I saw some raindrops there, ladies and gentlemen. This is live weather, but no, it doesn't look like it is, but the overcast clouds are saying some differences, so we'll definitely continue to watch that to see if within this hour maybe there will be some rain in Belgium, but we'll definitely check that to see. Jaden Harrison holding fourth with 5/10 behind Dominic Charles. I'm guessing at this point he's decided not to fight but just hold off and see if he can push the Trinidadian driver closer to the likes of Estefano Barrero right in front of them. Javier Salazar there sitting in the slipstream of the Swiss driver, 6 cents behind, and where he can make an advantage. And Jaden Harrison there bump drafting, as you can see, trying to push the likes of the Trinidadian driver. And they are getting close. The gap was almost 1.8 seconds. Roque Robinson has fallen off by quite some time, actually by maybe about a second. So not sure if something had contributed to that, but we'll definitely hear about it later down on. But that being said, right now the battle is still very much so up for grabs. The top position in this podium is still up and available for the 5 drivers as a matter of fact. So they're only about 5 seconds in between. Excuse my max about 7 seconds in between P5 to P1. And ladies and gentlemen, just again now as the race kind of starts to settle now. Right along board with Kimani Eastman. This is a fight for P17, but still, let's get some action as Kimani just hunts down the likes of Rodrigo Sanawal, AC karting driver. Looks on the outside. We'll see him getting quite creative there in that Can Spect and Elancho. And that gap between P1, P2 and P3 has fallen down now to 1.1 seconds, so now under a second. So is it that Dominic Charles is now picking up the pace, or did Estefano make a slight mistake there? We'll see and watch to see what's happening, but that gap now dropped to about a second, and they are coming up to a blue flag. Mr. Adriano, my apologies, in Tizwanto as well as Fernando Gonzalez, but definitely this is going to get very interesting very soon. Blue flag drivers always add a little bit of drama here. We've seen it in race 1 between Dominic, Jaden and Rohey Robinson, which led Rohey to lead from, or take over the final, or the top step of the podium, the final corner on the final lap, to take P1 from Jaden and Dominic, and that was from a blue flag incident. So we will see some drama here this evening, only time will tell. Dominic Charles now hunting Jaden there, just sitting in the slipstream. Rohey Robinson 3.6 seconds off, so not sure what's happening with him. Is this his moment to just kind of back off, maybe save some fuel, save some tires? We've seen him have a very disappointing end to a endurance race in last season, running out on literally the final corner, losing that P1 position, having to roll the car around, and Estefano took that from P3 to P1 as he Rohey Robinson and Daniel Velez ran out of gas on the final corner at Monza. So maybe Rohey learning a little bit from that and maybe just backing out early. You know, he's typically one to have pace. Let's see what he can bring here in the latter stages. Jaden Harrison there still, and it's smart for Jaden, because right now he can just slip it, sit in that slipstream. That will be good for fuel saving for him as well, because he has less draft, you know, from the air, so he can basically be using Dominic as a shield to the air in front of him and just lift a little bit earlier, coast into the corners and head down. As you see blue flags getting in, and that's Tizwanto. Gee, is that Tizwanto? I believe it's Tizwanto, and that brought very rapid a very rapid driver in Estefano. I saw him side by side heading into the final corner, as well as Dominic Charles looking very close, and Jaden Harrison, even he having to hold the brakes a little bit harder. And that is Tizwanto G now. Rohey Robinson catching up. That shaved a second off for Rohey to just get back into the mix, and luckily for him, luckily for him, he will have Tizwanto heading up Rouge, going down the Kemmel Straight. Will he get close enough in Rohey Robinson? Will this be his moment to get a little bit of a slipstream? Again, a little bit of an advantage, but no, it doesn't look like he will be. But at the same time, 7/10 is the gap between Dominic and Estefano as they head back into more blue flags. I believe that's Fernando Gonzalez, who you want to get out of the way as quickly as possible. And there you see him slowing down, and there he goes to make contact. I think that was the rear wheel drive, maybe going on the throttle too quickly, not sure. We'll have to take a look again, but yet he does back out to allow Rohey Robinson to go. But that puts Dominic and Jaden again. This is what it is. Blue flag racing always lends to some very late dramatics, but right now it's not even late, because we're almost nearing the halfway mark of the race as we near to 31 minutes, and Jaden and Dominic will be hunting down the leg to the Colombian. No more blue flags for now. The next one that they will be catching up to is Adriano in that BMW, but he's a few corners away. Hopefully he won't lend to too much drama. But there is Jaden sitting right behind Dominic Charles, sitting right behind Estefano. The sun is setting here at Spa in Belgium, and right now the drivers are fighting it out for glory and victory. This is going to get very interesting as the racing continues. 31 minutes remaining, ladies and gentlemen. 29 minutes has elapsed. The battling is going to get only hotter, and Rohey Robinson just slowly just staying there, just in in a sweet spot, always there just to capture on any points if there's any incidents in the cars in front. Two teammates definitely fighting it. Will be looking to help each other. Let's head down now the final straight, head into the bus stop. This is going to be the fight, ladies and gentlemen. And ladies and gentlemen, right now Rohit Robinson looks like he maybe pulling strategy, maybe going for the undercut here, goes for an early pit stop. So this will mean he'll be going to the end, I'm sure, on those same tires. He is on the medium tires. My apologies, no, he did change. Fueling does take more time, so it does make sense. So he will be on the hunt. We watch his lap times to see where he comes out, but he comes out now right behind Riley Curtis in P8, and this will be his hunt. Maybe trying for an undercut. Here is Rohit Robinson. Maybe trying to see if he can get some pace down, see if he can find some opportunities here, especially if these two make an incident. And there you have it. Estefano did make contact, and Jaden Harrison from P3 now into P1. Estefano concedes that position and drops from P1 now down to P3. Dominic Charles takes P2. Jaden Harrison in P1, and Dominic Chan and Estefano Barrero now will be the hunter. And this is exactly what Rohit Robinson would have wanted, but again, will his strategy work? Because some of these drivers did say they would go to the end. So we'll watch to see what happens in the dying stages, but we're now at the halfway mark. Now this is where the battling is going to get very intense, because now the roles have been reversed. Jaden's strategy has now was offensive, now becomes defensive, and he'll be there trying to set the pace for the lead pack to see who can control this race here in the next half an hour. So this is a very amazing turn of events here. Looking forward to seeing what can come. Kurt Moss there, only 2/10 off of Raven Plummer. These two were teammates last season. Not last season as in Tour 1, but last season, last year. How quickly things can change, because Kurt looks on the inside and Raven goes defensive, cuts that real quick and holds a position. Kurt having to hold on to the brakes and protect. And there goes Dominic now looking on the inside, maybe just trying to throw a dummy kind of. Estefano now as well, trying to see where he can fit in to see if he can throw some drama here, but still not enough. But wow, ladies and gentlemen, this is turning into what a battle here at Belgium, at the Spa-Francorchamps. And Estefano there going late on the brakes, just trying to throw a little bit of dummy, maybe a little bit of confusion there to the Trinidadian driver, just sitting there right there, and he will be going straight up your Rouge, following the likes of that Toyota Corolla. And right now we have one Hyundai followed by 4 Toyota Corollas. Rohit Robinson, we're watching to see his pace to see if he will be setting any laps on fire, but right now he's looking not rapid, but still doing what he can do. As you see Estefano now sitting in that slipstream, he definitely won't be doing any Oh, there he goes, a little bit of bump drafting, but maybe he hit him incorrectly, because Dominic lost a little bit of control there for a second, but still enough to hold forth, and they will continue racing. Estefano looking, being held up now by the Trinidadian driver. There's contact. Well, he holds that little bit of initial de-drifting there by the Toyota Corolla, front wheel drive drifting as a matter of fact. And Estefano aggressive here, trying to not lose that pace that he has in that Toyota. And Jaden Harrison now is going to be the one who is going to be the happiest as he tries his best to pull away from the likes of the drivers behind. But Estefano now, who seemed like he was trying to help before, I'm sure will be trying to get in front of the Trinidadian driver now, seeing that it seems as if he's being held up. And Dominic, I'm sure, will be finding his pace again sooner than later. I'm sure he's pushing, but now he's looking to be defensive. And that's not what he wanted here this evening, folks, as he's trying to get the move on to try and catch up to Jaden Harrison. But there's Estefano, he just has the pace, and it's just him pushing now, and who will work it out. And again, later on the brakes is Estefano. This is going to be very interesting, folks. My apologies there. But Raven Plummer and Roger Keller are now fighting through. Joshua Brady gets a drive through for cutting through many times. 5 cuts does give you a penalty, and there you see it. Roger Keller and Raven Plummer side by side heading through the sequence of corners. Who will concede first? Raven Plummer holds the inside line, pushes the Swiss driver out, and there was a little bit of contact. You saw Raven going a little bit of drifting there in that Renault, but still can hold off to continue that battle. My apologies. Dominic Charles heads into the pits now, so this is his moment to see where does Rohit Robinson come in here. But we'll continue to watch that because Estefano now 2 seconds behind Jaden Harrison. So Jaden is now pulling a gap. Looks like there may be an incident between himself. Maybe seeing Dominic there heading into the pits for a reason. But there goes Rohit Robinson still fighting with Riley Curtis. And who is that? Dominic Charles sits in the pits lane, and this looks like an undercut gone well because Rohit Robinson will now be passing Dominic Charles. Dominic Charles is sitting and now is exiting out of the pits, and Dominic Charles will be losing a few positions there. Rohit Robinson does gain 1 out of the top 3 that were in front. So if everybody in front pits, he is looking like a net P3 position. Based on that undercut, ladies and gentlemen, he is on the medium tire. Dominic Charles as well moves on from the hard to the mediums. Let's watch his pace as this racing goes on. Estefano 2.2 seconds off of the lead. Daniel Velez now sits in P3. Will he try and go along and just hold the position? Because we've seen it in the past where he leaves it until the last moment to pit. 8.8 seconds to the car in front, about 10 seconds from the leader. Undercut looking very powerful here this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately it looks like we have 2 retirements so far between Mateo Mejia and Fernando Gonzalez. So sorry to see them missing. Not sure what had happened there, but I'm sure we'll hear about it in the post-race stewarding if it was anything to do with that. You can see the leaves flowing in as the drivers come around. There is some dirt on the track. Roger Keller hunting on the likes of the American driver and the Raven Plummer. Javier Salazar right there behind the likes of Roger Keller, and this is going to be the battle as they head up for the final points position. Michael Thompson as well, hunting down Riley Curtis, the Australian driver in front of him. Michael has shown some pace. Did finish best of the rest last week in P4. Looking forward to seeing what he can do this evening in the endurance race. Again, the points are multiplied by half, so it's 1.5 points for this evening because it's one single race. It is our special event. The ballots from last week will be applied for next week's race. So if you did come late to the party, just a quick update now as Kadeem Mohammed heads up your Rouge, following Mr. Daniel Velez. He's now sitting 11 seconds off the lead. 9 seconds off. In front of him. And ladies and gentlemen, just a reminder, if you like the action, please, we're asking you kindly like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Excuse me for 1 second. racing looking like it's getting very tense as we got a little bit of an outburst there. We're right along board with the driver in question, Mr. Javier Salazar. Like he may have got himself into some form of an incident. Kimani Eastman has had a quiet race, but he's slowly just picking them off one by one. Started in P24, now sits in P14. Kimani Eastman looking like he's trying his best to see how far he can make it up in these next few moments. Michael Thompson hunting down the likes of the Australian in front of him in that BMW. Roy Robinson closing in on P5, so he's found some pace here this evening. Continue to watch that because he is about 16 seconds off of P4. It's about a pit stop and change behind P1, so he just needs to keep it going and consistent to see where he can gain that advantage, and I hope that the drivers in front will be pitting at some point. Dominic Charles is in P10 now. Michael Thompson looking on the inside, but still not close enough. Not enough. Riley Curtis just doing what is necessary to hold forth, and they will continue this battling as they head down, going up Rouge. And this is going to be a very fun battle as you're seeing Rohit Robinson right there in the forefront. Rohit closing the gap on the Colombian driver in Christian Gomez. It's going to be very fun to watch as Mr. Kimani Eastman is promoted as Javier Salazar heads into the pits. And that will be his moment to add a little bit of fuel. But P13 fighting for P12. In front of him is Rodrigo Senewild. Rodrigo as well did start in P24 or P23 if I remember correctly. He's now made his way into P12, so this is going to be very fun to watch. But right now, Riley Curtis being chased by the Jamaican in Michael Thompson in that Mitsubishi Lancer. That's going to be the closest fight on track. But Rohit Robinson as well is looking like he's trying to gain an advantage now to move up and promote himself into P5 as he hunts on the likes of Christian Gomez in front of him. Jaden Harrison still maintaining a 2.5 second gap to Estefano Barrero. The two now separating themselves by about 10 seconds. It's about 13 seconds between Daniel and P1. So Jaden just trying his best to keep pushing to keep that gap solid and further away. But right now, Rohit Robinson, a little bit of traffic, trying his best to get in front of the likes of Christian Gomez. Right now, if the three in front of him do go into the pits, Rohit will be promoted into P3 by a very decent margin. So that undercut worked perfectly for him. Hopefully put enough gas to finish to the end of this race. But that being said, Rohit Robinson hunts down Christian Gomez as they head down now into the final chicane. Christian going defensive, and is this the right move for him as he holds the inside line? Rohit looks on the outside now, will be switching again, and will he get the better run coming out? And he goes into the slipstream of Christian Gomez, and they'll be hunting. And will he go defensive? Will he have to go defensive? Maybe not. There's not close enough as they head down now into turn 1. But going down your Rouge, you want that slipstream going down the Camel Straight. So right now, Rohit Robinson just trying to stick as close as possible to get that run going up the Rouge corner. And there you see him looking left, looking right, just hoping to see where he can get this advantage, make this move stick. And that's a very unorthodox move line by Christian Gomez, but that will give the better run to Rohit Robinson now as you see him pushing. Christian Gomez will be under threat by the Jamaican driver. Hard to miss him as Rohit Robinson now goes side by side. Looks like he's getting that move done on the outside. However, Christian Gomez does hold out, and no, not enough. Rohit Robinson now moves from P6 to P5, moved done and dusted by the Jamaican driver. Christian Gomez just has to concede that, and now sits in the slipstream to try and see where he can pull along or be pulled along by the Jamaican driver, but hasn't given it up as he looks on the outside. But the ideal line that you would like to be on there is the inside line as Rohit goes defensive and holds off the leg. So that driver. But guess what? Christian still not giving it up and trying to see if he could take a look on the inside, but does give it up relatively quickly. This is not what Rohe wants because he doesn't necessarily want to be fighting, but he is on the better tire at the moment and fresher rubber. So this will be his moment. Now he is going to be pushing to see if he can close that gap. He has a little bit of fresh air, and there's about 17 seconds between himself and Kadim Mohammed right in front. Still has to keep his eyes on his rearview mirror because Christian Gomez has not given up that P5 position, and this is going to be very fun to say the least in these next few moments. We'll just take a quick look now at Michael Thompson, who is getting a better run on Riley Curtis. There goes Michael now, looking like he's getting a better run coming out to the final corner. Riley Curtis there looking very good. Dominic Charles with the fastest lap of the race there with a 2:32.180. So he's maybe trying to turn up the pace a little bit to see if he can even close the gap to the drivers in front after his pit stop did relegate him down quite a few positions. See Mr. Harrison there on the big screen there at the pits, so you can look at that for the next time we come around heading into turn one. But yep, there goes Michael Thompson now on the Kemmel straight, looking, was in the slipstream of Riley Curtis. Riley now on the thread as the two head down now into the bus stop, and there they go, and then the Kemmel straight hits the brakes now, and there it goes. Late on the brakes was Riley Curtis, and will that be enough? No, it will not be, because Michael Thompson sits right there on the outside, but he has the worst line of the two, and Riley Curtis can hold out 2/10 is the gap between the two, but Michael Thompson hasn't given it up again. Riley goes defensive, goes on the inside line. Michael Thompson goes on the outside to try and see. Ooh, and a little bit of lag there by the Australian driver, so no fault of each other, and that just puts Dominic Charles right in the mix again to see if he can get an advantage. So now he's on the rear end of that BMW, and he'll be looking to see where he can gain an advantage in the cars in front of him. 2/10 is his pace. As you see that initially he is in the right themed car, because that front wheel drive Toyota Corolla is just going drifting on multiple occasions. You're seeing the back end just twisting as they go around the corners, and there he's taking a look on the inside, but Riley again putting that car where it needs to be. That's not the ideal overtaking position either, but still we've seen it in the past. These drivers can be very creative with their passes, as we saw even Mr. Oscar Piastri last week, the Australian driver in Formula 1, and there goes Dominic Charles on the inside there, but still has to back out of it and will still be hunting. But this is going to be leading up into where he wants to be. Gets the slipstream, and we're going to have a rundown now into the final chicane of the race, and there you see him there. He has the pace, but Riley just putting that car where it needs to be. Riley can't go defensive now. Who is going to be late on the brakes? Looks like Dominic Charles, but guess who gets the inside? But guess what? The outside turns into the inside, and there goes Dominic Charles. Could be promoted into P8. Kadim Mohammed as well does go into the pits, so that relegates promotes Rohe Robinson, my apologies, to P4. He is now on the hunt for Daniel Velez. The final podium position, 12 minutes remaining. Ladies and gentlemen, P7 for Michael Thompson, P8 for Dominic Charles. And right now it's 2 Colombians and 1 Jamaican on the podium, and this is going to be very interesting. But Jaden is just putting on quite a show here. Very rapid, 3.2 seconds clear of the driver behind. 16.6 seconds clear of P3 is Jaden Harrison. So he is just putting his head down now and has the clear air, and just had said, nope, I'm going to just go lap after lap, just setting it 132.8, 132.9, 132.8, 132.7. Jaden is just putting on a consistent pace here, so even to hold forth and maintain that position. There goes Dominic Charles there on the inside of Michael Thompson. Michael didn't have much to do to defend that one. Pressure tires and just rapid pace by the Trinidadian. He hunts down the likes of the Bayesian driver and Kadeem Mohammed, but Kadeem did just change to the hard tires. So slightly unorthodox for the final, but maybe he didn't change his tires, he just added some fuel to finish the race, because he was very rapid in that pit stop. So definitely on the same tires. Will this be his downfall, because fresher tires and about the same fuel? And there goes Dominic Charles. My apologies, I've been talking while he's been moving, and there goes Dominic now to take the move from Kadeem Mohammed. We just got the 10-minute warning, 9 minutes and 50 seconds to go. Kadeem Mohammed now relegated to P7. Should have enough fuel. The only drivers in front who haven't pit is Christian Gomez and Daniel Velez, who just goes into the pits, and it looks like he just set his tires, did a little bit of a fuel top up. Daniel Velez comes out now in P5. Dominic Charles comes around, so he should be taking that position away. But right there behind is Daniel Velez. Oh, my apologies. Right there in front is Daniel Velez. So Daniel holds his position against the likes of Dominic Charles. So that pit stop looked like it threw off Mr. Charles, and he has some work to do. Daniel Velez there did not take tires. Just seems like he took a little bit of fuel to take it to the end. And he will be running. Estefano, Jaden, and Christian Gomez are the only that have not pitted yet. Rohir Robinson is on the podium position, so his undercut has worked out for him in the long run, but 32.6 seconds behind. He needs the two to pit and have an incident at this point to see if he can really and truly gain an advantage and gain back. But he did gain one position from Dominic Charles, who lost 3 positions, or 4, my apologies, because he was in P2 when he went into the pits. Now sits in P6. Dominic Charles will be hunting for the next few moments. The rear view of the Colombian driver is Mr. Dominic Charles, who's been making his way downtown, and he's been walking fast, and he's making his name known here this evening as he's just picking them up one by one. Has the pace, has the fresher tires, has enough fuel to get into the end. That Toyota Corolla is rapid here this evening, has the fastest lap as well. And guess what? Jaden Harrison and Estefano Barrera have entered into the pits, and this is going to be the battle to watch now, because we have Jaden Harrison right behind, and who will come out first? Jaden overtakes to move past. Roy Robbins comes around now, and he wants to be pushing, because right now, as he heads into the final chicane, it doesn't look like he's going to catch up to the likes of Estefano, but he'll be close enough, it seems, as Estefano now is on the throttle to get out of the pits, and he looks quite fine. As Rohir Robinson looks like he will be holding P3 for the duration of this moment. But Christian Gomez now in the pits coming out, and Daniel Velez and Dominic Charles now promoted into P4 and P5. And the fight will be on for P4 here this evening between Dominic and Daniel. Kadeem Mohammed not too far behind either, so we'll watch to see what happens with them. Kurt Moss as well under threat by Michael Thompson, but that will be a fight that we'll continue to watch in the foreseeable future. But right now the battles are in the pits, and on the track. Dominic Charles heading up your Rouge, drive through for cutting for Sashawn Falloon. And guess who looks like he's getting the run is Dominic Charles. Gets a slipstream, looking like he's going to go on the outside. Immediately goes defensive is Daniel Velez, but not enough. Maybe using his hybrid system there to protect against the likes of the Trinidadian driver who's late on the brakes. It is Dominic Charles, but will he have enough? Eases off the brake is Daniel Velez. A little bit of contact, but not too much, but gets the whole inside line. Daniel Velez, no! Ooh, and that's very close, but still good and clean and hard racing. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen, they are heading up to a blue flag in front of them, and that is not what they want to see, as I believe that is Sashawn Balloon right in front of them. So hopefully, we've seen him in the past make some mistakes. He's made amends for it, so we hope to see that won't get into contention with the battle ahead. But right now, Dominic, 5 minutes to go, and he's hunting on the likes of the Colombian. 1.5 points here this evening. Every point, every position matters, and these drivers are fighting it out tooth and nail until the end. And they're just reeling in the likes of Sashawn Falloon. Sashawn holding on tight for their life right now. Doesn't have to jump out of the way, but still advise, just clear your way. Don't get into any incidents. And this might be the best place for them to catch him, as a matter of fact. As you see them closing. And will he come out? No, he will not. But he holds that line on the outside, and the two will go around them. Didn't mess them up too much. Dominic has to back off a little bit, because this is where you're going to see the move being made. He looks on the outside. Will he switch to the inside? No, he will not. Daniel does go defensive and will be pushing him as wide as possible. Will Dominic get enough? Nope. And there, cuts it in as quickly as possible. And Daniel, a brilliant defense here as they head down now out through the final chicane to head down to the start finish to turn one. Kadeem Mohammed closing in slowly. So we'll definitely watch to see what happens there. But wowzers, as this is the battle to watch, as Daniel Velez is going very defensive here this evening to protect that final best of the rest position. Kadeem Mohammed now 8/10 off of Dominic Charles, and this is going to be his battle. Just to wait to see if there's anything that can come to gain an extra point or two here this evening. Dominic Charles again getting the better run, heading up through Rouge, heading down now Kemmel Straight. I'm sure the hybrid system is being used. Does he have enough in? Daniel Velez has the inside line. Will this be another defensive beat? And there he goes, 2 goes later. Dominic goes later again, but again the inside becomes the outside into the inside again. So the two, Daniel will hold the better position and line, and Dominic looks on the inside immediately again, cuts over to cut off the likes or any attack from Dominic Charles. And there he goes on the outside, looking like if he can try to get this position. And there he is alongside. The two are side by side, and there goes Dominic Charles now side by side heading out now, and the outside now becomes the inside. But is he close enough? No, he's not. And guess who gets a perfect vision of all this? Mr. Kadeem Mohammed, just waiting on any incidents to come. I hope that's not the commentator's curse. But that being said, wowzers, as this is the battle, ladies and gentlemen. And it is, there it goes again, Daniel, and Dominic looks like he's finally getting that position away, and he does, and he moves through that sequence of corners, ladies and gentlemen. Daniel Velez now on the defensive. He was defending against Dominic. Now Dominic will be trying his best to get away, and Kadeem Mohammed is actually on the offensive again. Now a 10th off of the Colombian in front of him. This Toyota Corolla is going to be very fun in the next few moments, because right now side by side, as there's a little bit of contact but not enough to be called anything too dramatic. Kadeem Mohammed now hunts down, keeps that fight going to see if he can gain that position. Drives through for Joshua Brady, has been taken as they head down now the final chicane, and Kadeem Mohammed still hunts down. 2-minute warning, ladies and gentlemen, 2-minute warning. There goes Kadeem Mohammed, and again the inside line has to be protected by the likes of Mr. Daniel Velez, who is I'm sure just counting down the minutes, just hoping that this race will just come to a conclusion for him. A minute and a half to go. Making that move stick, but not giving up as yet by Daniel Velez. Daniel Velez now is sitting down in the slipstream, but doesn't give it up. And there they go, side by side. Let's slide contact. And ladies and gentlemen, we have 22 seconds remaining as last until the end. Sure, we'll be counting the moments, and I'm very happy as a 5 in P11, about a second behind. On to be, ladies and gentlemen, coming through. And he wins this race, ladies and gentlemen. And he wins this race, ladies and gentlemen. Your winner who has put on a dub. He is just a gentleman. Your winner who has put on a dub. He is just a blue flag racer. So he is just a blue flag racer. So you can see him going down. But right now, but Oswin Wilson comes around the final corner to take that position. Did he get it? Yes, he did. And Oswin Wilson finishes off in P8. Riley Curtis in P9. What a finish for them. And is that Kurt Moss finishes off in P10 and Raven Plummer in P11. So the final points position goes to Kurt Moss. We did see them fighting it out in the last stages of that race. And there is Michael Thompson as well, finishes off in P12. Roger Kill in P13. We have Javier Salazar coming around with Kimani Eastman right there behind him. That battle looked like it was getting hot. About one more lap could have led to some very good racing with Kimani Eastman in P15. Javier Salazar in P14. What a battle this has been, ladies and gentlemen. P15 goes to Kimani Eastman. We have Rodrigo Senewell in P16, Michael McNamee in P17, Joshua Brady in P18. Adriano in P18 still hasn't passed the line as yet, but oh yes, he has. My apologies, as you see him there. And Sashan Falloon heading down now into the pits in P20. Swanta G in P22. Fernando Gonzalez, unfortunately, did not finish this race, but Jaden Harrison wins this race by a dominant point, followed by Estefano Barrero and the next Jamaican in Rohey Robinson. The trio will come on for stewarding or interviews, my apologies, in the next few moments. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we'll just get the drivers ready for the driver briefing. So please give me a brief moment to just organize everybody.
Did you guys use?
Yo, good race, Dominic and Estefano. That was something else.
Yeah, the strategy workout, Jaden.
Yeah, where's Dominic?
Listen,
Bro,
guys, please just explain. Can you join me in one private room? I will be in another room.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I need so much help.
No problem.
Thank you.
oh,
Yippee. Okay, but before you drive me across, did y'all pit?
Yeah.
Of course.
Dominic,
Okay,
what
so-
did you do?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I
This
don't
guy.
know. Hold on, I
That was
just
very good. That was a very
Maybe
good
I
word.
did time in the pits. How did Estefano get, well, 7 seconds? I had some traffic.
yeah.
But
So I did a test before during the practice. I went into the pit to see how long the fuel will take, and you know it would have taken the same amount of time as the tires. Did y'all change tires at all?
that's a
Nah.
secret.
Well, you were on the hards. I saw that. But if y'all switch tires, and I put exactly enough fuel that they both finished at the same time, how did y'all get like 15 seconds ahead?
I don't know about Estefano, but I didn't take tires.
And
I took
Jaden was
like-
fuel saving, I guess. I
I
don't know.
took like 13 liters of fuel. I think when I was fuel saving behind you and Estefano, I got the jump on Estefano with the less fuel in the pits, so I got a few seconds on him, I think.
Okay, because I mean that was so odd to see, because I couldn't believe I lost so much time to y'all. Like 15 seconds off of like 5 extra liters of fuel is crazy.
Dude, when I saw the fastest lap by Dominic, I was saying, what? Dominic is behind me?
Oh no.
And ladies and gentlemen, that was a brief snippet from the cool down room with some of the drivers. That was just a little bit of insight into where their minds were. Dominic Charles is one of them that were fighting for the top steps at the beginning of this race, but unfortunately for him, as you heard right there, his pit stop undid his race rapidly, leading him to finish off in P4. So we will start with him this evening, ladies and gentlemen, and driver number 333. He is in the top 3 of the podiums, and as many points as possible will go into his bank here this evening. 1.5 points, but a little bit distressed here this evening. That pit strategy, some drivers looking like they undercut worked for them. Some drivers looking like they just did a little bit of a splash and dash and sticking on the tires. Strategy was definitely at play here this evening. But driver number 333, Dominic Charles, our good friend from Trinidad and Tobago. Dominic, can you hear us?
Yep, loud and clear.
Well, we got a little bit of a snippet there in the cool down room. You want to give us a little bit more insight into your thoughts there?
Yeah, well, you know, no practice, gang, as usual.
As usual.
And it really showed here, because, I mean, Spa is one of my tracks, you know. So I had the pace, I just didn't know exactly what to do. So I just went with the old, you know, well, I'll just put as much fuel as I know could finish the race and try to pit halfway. But clearly, that wasn't the strategy at all. Because I went into the pits and I saw the other guys like almost 20 seconds ahead. I said, oh my God, what did I do?
It was unfortunate. We did see Rohe got that undercut very well from you. He did pit very early. He was about 2 seconds behind you guys, but I just want to talk quickly about that early battle in the first stage of this race. It was very fun. It started with Estefano leading the race and you chasing Estefano, you chasing Jaden, and you and Jaden had some battles there. Could you walk us through those battles, especially between you and Jaden?
Yeah, I got some mixed signals from Jaden, because he did flash, so I kind of knew, you know, all right, let's go catch Estefano at the start. But then I don't know if he misjudged the brakes, or if he did go for the move, then it was a great move. But into the last chicane, he just flew past me, and I was like, okay, all right, I guess we fight now. So we had a little fight going after that, and I did manage to catch up to Estefano eventually. I knew I had the pace. I needed to actually run the whole race to properly do a strategy for myself. And the other guys put in the work, so, I mean, you know, I can't really argue with that.
It was definitely one to watch, though. I know you're no practice gang, which scares me because if you do put in some practice, the world is yours, brother. But nonetheless, that battle, especially between you and Jaden, and then that switcheroo from Estefano from P1, Jaden in P3, to move Jaden into P1 and then Estefano into P3, and then you were just there battling, and then you had to defend, and then you headed into the pits. It was just such a drama-filled evening. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it was so much. Oh, just a shout out to Daniel, Daniel Velez. He and I had a fantastic battle in the elite end of the race. We just went side by side for about 3 or 4 laps. It was crazy. So that was fantastic driving.
and that was my final point because that was very fun to watch. You hunting down Daniel Velez and then up until the last moment, but you did get it in that. I don't remember. I think it was about turn 9, somewhere around there.
Yeah, just before turn 11.
Right. And that battle was so fun to watch, if I do say so myself. But that being said, brother, congratulations. It's still a good haul of points. And what a battle it was. Congratulations, sir, on your P4 finish.
All right, thanks, bro.
Absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, that was driver number 333, Dominic Charles, who did finish off in P4, was in the fight in P2 at a point. Himself and Jana Harrison were definitely fighting out for that top step of the podium. And then the man, the myth, the Mr. Sandman himself, driver number 10, Rohir Robinson, who was sitting in P4, performed the undercut of dreams here this evening, ladies and gentlemen. He just pit when he needs, so we'd love to hear his strategy. I know we heard it in the cooler room that's his secret. But Mr. Rohir Robinson, can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Well, first of all, sir, congratulations on that podium finish. You looked a little bit out of contention between the top 3, but we were wondering in the booth if you were just you were about 2 seconds behind. So we thought you were just trying to use this as your strategy, maybe do a little bit of fuel saving, until we saw you go for the undercut on Dominic Charles, and that's
Going to qualify poorly, and so said, so done. I qualified 5th. But I knew that at least my strategy would probably get me back some position. So luckily that worked out. But I think Dominic made a mistake in the pits. Maybe that's the reason why I overtook him. But yeah, it's a solid result for me. I can't complain. I was expecting lower, but yeah, podium. So I'll take it.
There you go. Well, outside of that, the qualifying didn't go as planned, but that first lap you jumped up, I think it was from P6 or P5 all the way up to P3, and then you had to fight with Dominic. Could you walk us through the initial stages of that race? Yeah,
I saw that even during the warm-up lap, because of my strategy, I didn't want to warm the tires. So while everybody was warming tires, I was just focusing on fuel saving and not to take out life out of the tires unnecessarily. So I think that affected my first lap. Yes, I got the jump, but my tires were extremely cold, so I didn't even fight with Dominic.
Okay, that explains a lot.
I didn't fight because I couldn't hold on to that fight. But I knew when I saw the qualifying, 2 guys behind me were starting on hards. So I knew that, okay, I don't need to fight Dominic, but at least I can't let the hard tire guys pass, because if their tires warm up before mine, then it's going to be trouble.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, brother.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just fought with Kadim and Daniel, making sure that they didn't pass, and that's it. I was going to settle for 4th, but yeah, I'll take 3rd.
Well, it's always a good feeling to, be promoted, especially due to another driver's fault. But that being said, you did do well where you just stood your ground. You did what you needed to do. You picked off the drivers in front of you, especially after you pitted one by one, being very patient and strategic. So congratulations to you, sir, Mr. Rohir Robinson. And this will definitely bode well in your championship pursuit.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome, and I'll see you again next week, hopefully in the interview room again.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, next is Brands Hatch. Yes.
And ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Robinson is a Brands Hatch specialist, so we should even say his teammate being under threat. But that being said, awesome race there, Rohe. Congratulations, sir, and we'll speak soon.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.
You as well. Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, that was Rohe Robinson finishing off in P3, the final podium position. Now we have driver number 369, Mr. Estefano Barrero, who did finish off in P2. He had a impeccable battle between himself, Jaden Harrison, and Dominic Charles. But first of all, Estefano, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Well, first off, bro, congratulations on P2. What a battle this evening. What a series of events for you. We want to start off quickly with the qualifying. We'd just love for you to, walk us through what went through your mind through that, especially when you saw Jaden taking off that pole position off of you in the latter stages.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen. Yeah, qualifying on this car was really hard for me. I was struggling qualifying with these cars, and even more with Jaden and some other guys that are driving these cars like every day. They are basically the developers, so it's really hard to max the car like they do. So I was really happy with my starting position. I mean, Spa is a really good track, and I just done a 24-hour race, so I have pretty much memorized all the track on this game thanks to that event. So I was driving really fresh. Was actually surprised that I did that good in quali. I knew it was gonna be a good race, of course. I was really happy with it.
Nice. Well, we just want to talk about that battle between yourself and Jaden and Dominic. You were leading the race. I mean, before you fought Jaden for the lead of the race, and
I'll try just to go race per race. I'm not thinking about the championship per race. I'm not thinking about the championship yet because it's still too early and I have a lot of points.
There
I
you
have
go.
a lot of points to recover. Yeah, it's a bit hard though. I not if you think about the championship in this stage, you will get more stressed. So I'm just gonna have fun and see what can I do.
Well, bro, again, always a pleasure to have you on track. Very excited to see you here. And what a battle that was between you three. And congratulations, bro. P2 as you finish off round 3 here at a special event at Spa. And as always, thank you for joining. Any final words to your fans and to your sponsors?
Yeah, thank you very much for hosting. As always, great racing here on this league. Thank you also to my teammates, to Nova Racing Store, to my dad that is here on my right side, always watching me, always supporting me. Basically, my race engineer, watching fuel and stuff like that, so I can concentrate on the race. So thank you to all of them. Thank you to JSRA, of course, for hosting.
Well, thank you for joining, bro. Without you, we wouldn't have a race. So, again, huge shout out to you guys, especially for spending your Fridays with us. Congratulations again on P2 and looking forward to seeing you next week at Brands Hatch.
Thank you. I'll see you next week.
Thank you as well. Bless you. Have a good evening. And ladies and gentlemen, that was driver number 369, Estefano Barrero. Did finish off in ignore that. Did finish off in P2, but now as you hear the entrance for our winner, driver number 604, Jaden Harrison. Ladies and gentlemen, he has his own YouTube channel. So if you want to learn a thing or two and watch his stream directly, please tune in. And he will give his own shout out to his YouTube and Instagram page. But that being said, won by a very demanding position. He took pole position to start after a rapid lap, bringing in the 131 Centros even. Could you walk us through that one?
On the quality lap, it was like I didn't know the car was very off pace, but we try and fix it with the setup, but I didn't know if we would be able to match that time, as we're teammates with Rohe Robinson. So I didn't know if we would be able to even battle the two Corollas. But it just happened, and he got the slipstream and kind of passed me around the outside. I didn't really want to waste the tires because I did a non-stop race. I didn't take tires or anything, so I didn't save the tires, didn't really battle him too much, didn't really, just made him kind of go past after that tussle on the first lap. But yeah, that's really it. I think towards the end, when I guess I was doing a better job with the tire saving, so the Elantra came back and I was able to pull away and maintain better pace, and I got the fuel saving over the race and got a better pit stop, and then that kind of sealed the deal.
Absolutely. And then that fight between yourself and Dominic, we would love to hear from your point of view what had happened there, because we knew that you're not going to fight too much and bring or allow Estefano to get too far away, but then coming out to the final chicane, if I remember correctly, you just sent a move and took that position back very rapid from Dominic, and the battle seemed like it was on. Could you walk us through what happened? What had happened there?
Yeah, so I didn't really know the pace of Dominic. I didn't really want to fight him, but I didn't really want to like make Estefano run away. But for like maybe 2 or 3 laps, he was behind us and kind of following the flow, and then I think he just wanted to pass. So I think we went 3 wide at one point, and he got past. But yeah, we were kind of like back and forth, like passing each other, because it's like I would be fast and I would pass him again and try to catch, and then he would just be fast and then pass me back, and then like I just kept on like fuel saving in his draft, and that made me get the jump on the pit stop. So I mean, it ended up working out, although I think I had the worst car. Like in the mid corner, you can see like they were just pulling away on me in the infield in like the first half, but once the tires, I guess I was saving tires. Once the tires came in, I had the advantage.
Well, again, you were very rapid. It was amazing to watch, especially when we saw Estefan and Dominic coming off of, they came straight into that sequence, finding themselves into a small incident. You just saw that moment to pounce, and it was almost reminiscent of Formula 1 2022 at Silverstone, where Lewis Hamilton made the move on Sergio Perez, and it says through goes Hamilton. It was through goes Jaden Harrison this evening. What were your thoughts going through that moment?
On which one again?
It was a move to take the lead of the race.
You know, I don't remember.
Well, that was the last overtake for the race. So
maybe. Oh, I think I remember what happened. I guess I think they were fighting, and then I kind of saw the door open up. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to take that door. I mean, if Estefano decided to cut back in, then I'm here. But I think he lifted to let Dominic back go to avoid a penalty or something. But yeah, and then I think after that, at that point, like once you leave the slipstream, at that point of the race when the tires are like kind of cooked, once you leave the slipstream, I think I was pretty good to go.
Well, it was your last overtake of the race, and maybe the most important one of the race. So again, brother, congratulations. It was absolutely epic to have you on the top step this evening, and a huge haul of points for you in the championship run. Any final comments as we close off the stream?
Yeah, I would say good race to Estefano and Dominic. Honestly, we were like putting the same exact lap time every single lap, so anybody could have won that race. It was literally just down to the strategy. So I think, although the points is big now, I think it's like a lucky draw here.
Well, luck does have a lot to play, but skill as well. All three of you just did an impeccable job. That's why we had to join Dominic for that brief interview to start off. But again, congratulations to you, sir. It was absolutely epic to watch, and looking forward to you next week in the Brands Hatch series. With what we have in store, the battling will only get bigger and better and even more intense as the championship continues to go on and intensify. Congratulations on P1. here this evening, Jane Harrison. Any final thoughts or comments to your fans in the comments?
I don't know.
Well, on that bombshell, ladies and gentlemen, this has brought this evening's racing to a conclusion. This was an absolutely epic race, to say the least. Just reading through the comments again. Leave your driver of the day voting in the chat, and we'll get as much driver of the day votings on our social media at JSRA official. Looking forward to seeing you guys out and about. I'm seeing Arnie Zokolot saying we withdrew from AC Friends. And no, we plan on entering in the 24 hours of Nürburgring. We've set up a team for it. We'll be entering in the next few months. So looking forward to seeing what is to come. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I've been your host this evening. It's been an epic showcase of racing here, if I do say so myself. I'm very pleased at the drivers. It was absolutely epic to watch, and I'm looking forward to seeing what will come in the next few moments, in the next few weeks, as we head into round 4, next sprint series next week, and we have Le Mans Ultimate tomorrow, which we will unfortunately not be streaming the first round due to us being at the Jamaica Auto Show tomorrow, as they're a little bit early, and seeing GTRs and Porsche GT3RSs and McLaren 720Ss and all of the beautiful cars that we have here out here in Jamaica. We will be capturing some feed on our social media, so please stay tuned to our Instagram. If you have any questions, please feel free to Instagram or direct message us at JSRA official. I've been your host this evening from the Jamaica Simulation Racing Association, and a huge shout out again to Mark Ryu 45 and his Twitch channel over there. We look forward to seeing you guys joining us for more races in the future. I've been your host, Stephen Stewart, and this is me signing off. Thank you and have a blessed night. God bless you.